As far as like psychics and actually going to them, when I actually went through my deconstruction and really understood who I was, that I'm this divine being having this human experience, once I understood that, I realized that I had the power to do what they're doing. I
Mhm.
have the power to actually discern that intuitive psychic ability. Well, welcome everyone to today's episode of TMI Advice You Didn't Want. Today, I'm actually really excited about what we're going to talk about because I feel like this is something I have been thinking about for a long time. And how do I look at these things? But we're going to be talking about psychics, right? We're going to be talking about should you go to a psychic? Should you actually listen to what a psychic says? Should you believe what they have to say about what's going on in your life? And yeah, this is going to be fun. So, in case we haven't met, my name is Karin Angelly. I'm one of the co hosts here.
And my name is Ashley. I have a lot of experience with psychics, but like not like as hands-on. How about yourself?
So, I have actually not had that much experience with psychics in the past. And a big reason for that is something that we've talked about before is that I have in the past been a Christian, right? And then I went through this massive deconstruction. Well, I think that was one of the biggest reasons that I haven't had as much contact with
Yeah.
psychics because with Christianity, it was like, that's a no go. Like, don't touch those people. They are satanic, that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
so I no longer believe that anymore. And in fact, I've worked with people that do have that psychic ability. And like you and I have talked about on this podcast, where we've worked with a mutual friend, Bridget, and she does have that ability, that kind of thing. Right. So, but anyways, so for me, no, I haven't worked with them that much. And I think the biggest reason, since I've done my deconstruction into what I currently am today, which I don't even know what I am. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't feel like I need to define myself anymore like I used to. I used to define
Yeah.
myself so closely to, I'm a Christian. But now I'm like, I don't need to do that. I can hold on to things loosely and go, okay, does this fit or does this not fit in this time in my life? So, but anyways, so, as far as like psychics and actually going to them, when I actually went through my deconstruction and really understood who I was, that I'm this divine being having this human experience, once I understood that, I realized that I had the power to do what they're doing. I
Mhm.
have the power to actually discern that intuitive psychic ability. And I actually read a book recently. I still forget who the I'll have to figure out who the author is, but I just finished it. It's called You Are a Psychic. And he talks about how all of us are. There are some of us that have certain tendencies towards certain psychic abilities. So he names four. I actually think there are more than this, but these are the main four that he names, where you are seeing, like a
Mhm.
psychic seeing, a psychic hearing, a psychic intuition, which is that knowing, and then a psychic feeling, right? So those are the four things that he talks about. And he talks about how each of us have a tendency to lean in a certain direction with all of those. For me, I am just psychic intuitive. I just know. I can't tell you why I know. And I real like when I have that psychic knowing of just knowing, I like it. There's literally no logical reason why I know. I just do. And
Mhm.
that's just the way it is, right? So when I went through my deconstruction, I realized that I am this divine being that can do this. And so that's one of the biggest reasons that I haven't worked with a lot of people as far as this is concerned, because I realized that I can dig this out on my own. I can actually figure this out. And so you and I actually have a mutual mentor who actually told us too, like, you don't need anybody else to tell you what
Mhm.
you already know. You don't need to go to somebody else. You already have all the answers in you. And
Mhm.
so I really held on to that and was like, yeah, it's so true. Because every time I've gone to somebody, like for example, Bridget, love her to death, thinks she is super intuitive, knows what she's talking about, there were still a lot of things that she missed
Mhm.
because she's going to look at, and this is how I look at all psychics, they're going to look at what they see, feel, experience, hear, know in a different way than I am. And if they are looking at it through their lens, they can't fully look at it through my lens. They're
Mhm.
looking. So, one thing that this guy talks about in You Are the Psychic book, he's talking about how when we're looking at other people and we're giving them this psychic, intuitive knowing or whatever, we're looking through our energy field. We're looking through our energy field into someone else's energy field, and you still have the blinders of your energy field going through theirs, if that makes sense. And I'm like, yeah, that makes so much sense to me, that there is a huge miss when you go to a psychic and you try to say, oh, this person is going to tell me exactly what I need to do with my life. No, because they're looking at your energy field through their energy field, and they can only look through it in that way. Like, they aren't actually, like, for example, like, nobody could have told me that it was time to leave my business. Nobody could have told me that. Nobody. I needed to tell me that, right? So, and there's things that I look back on where people are like, oh, I see that this is the direction you're going to take. And it's like, it was like there was a piece of truth, but then there was also like, nah, that doesn't quite fit. That doesn't quite work with how I interpret the world. And I know, Ashley, you have a story about this exactly. So, would
Yeah.
love for you to share that too.
Yeah, well, and I have lots of things like that as well because um same upbringing. Like I was raised in a non-Christian home, but I was a Christian. So it was really interesting.
Mhm.
And my auntie would do tarot at family get-togethers. And I was like, no, that's from the devil. I can't be around.
Satanic.
And it would make me feel so uncomfortable. And then my mom would like want to take me to like psychic fairs. And the one time we went out for lunch and then we found out that there was a psychic fair in the same place that we were having lunch. And she was like, oh, we're going. And I was still a Christian at the time, but I had just gone through like separation, soon to be a divorce.
Mm.
And so I was kind of intrigued, but like so standoffish. And I had three different people say things to me. I don't remember what they were. And then one lady talk about how I was going to have tons of success and all these wonderful things were going to happen. And it was when a flower bloomed. And so I held on to that. And I like still to this day, so this would have been, oh man, like 12 plus years ago. Still, probably no more than that. It would be 13 years ago. Because, yeah, just with my accident, I can timeline things a little bit better.
Mm.
But I still to this day will be like, is that the flower? And I'll ask questions like that. And it's so in my head. And I'm like, how did this lady somehow so align with me with this flower thing and like really get in my head. And that's the scary thing for me is that is so in my head. Like it's been 12 years, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um but yeah, and so for me it just always felt off and always felt weird. So I never did too much with it. But then as I was going through my awakening, I found out, and so this was when I was going through my Reiki journey. And I found out my best friend used to be a psychic medium. So he's from Cuba and he was being trained. His mentor was a full-time psychic medium in Cuba, and he was being trained too as well. And so I was like so intrigued. So I like was like, "Okay, teach me like that. Let's do this kind of thing." And so we did like telepathy exercises and stuff like that. So I don't know, have you ever heard of that kind of thing before?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I can share, I guess, just for anyone listening who doesn't know. So like where I'll think of a number and I'll try to send it to you, and then you'll tell me what the number is and vice versa. And so the first thing we did was like with like images. And so it was like flying over a valley between two mountains with trees on either side was what he pictured. And I had to think of it and say, this is what you're thinking of. And so it's how to like train your brain to like receive messages, because that's what you're doing as a psychic medium. You're receiving messages from other spirits, and being able to think about them accurately. So we started doing that. And Louise Hay, the book that we talk about a lot, she talks about how at some point in our life, telepathy is going to be our main form of communication
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
internet and everything's going to be shut down. So I had heard all of that kind of around the same time. So I was like so into it. So I was playing with like asking my team for visions and to speak to me and doing the telepathy game and all that kind of stuff. And I had this one vision of this like big white moving van pull up into my driveway and then drive away with all my stuff and go east, or sorry, go west. And it was like that's where you're meant to be, and that's where you're going. And it just felt like this is like you're going there, and that's where your home is, kind of thing. And I was just like, that was my interpretation of it. And I was just like, interesting. And then I told my friend about it, and he's like, oh no, it had something to do with like the insurance company with my accident. And he had this like weird like how it represented something, and I don't even remember what it was, but it I went through a really bad accident, which I've talked about on this podcast as well, and I got like screwed over by our insurance company because our insurance is so much different here in Canada, especially the province that I was in. And so I got like no money. And so a lot of people think when you get hurt in an accident, you're getting a big payout. Not here, not in Canada. So, so anyways, I was going through that process, and he had it represent that in some way of maybe all the baggage leaving and having to move away, something like that. And I was like, interesting. And then I think it was 4 months later, the guy I was seeing at the time, his mom passed away, and we decided to move. And so we moved away, and then we broke up about like 8 months later. And in that time frame, I had decided I wanted to build a van, like a camper van. And so built it myself. And so we broke up. I bought my van, started building the camper van. And then I was looking at it one day, and this would have been over a year after my vision. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the exact van I saw in that vision.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And it was just like, shit. Like, I didn't even know van life was a thing when I had that vision,
Hmm.
I had no
Yeah.
idea. And that's why I think, too, a lot of people that do dreams or do visions, they say write them all down because then you can come back to them because you
Yep.
don't know what you don't know. And I
Right.
I didn't know what van life was. And
Right.
yeah, so I was like, oh my gosh, like that's it. And so then I was like, interesting. I no longer was at that house anymore, but it was still very symbolic to me that that's what it was. It was van life.
Yeah.
And I think it was at the point, so I was building up my van to come to you, essentially. Like I going to go to a Las Vegas conference and then go through Arizona and then come to Orlando. And I obviously didn't because the borders got shut down. And I think my realization, because most of my van build was during the borders being shut down. And so my realization was, oh my gosh, I'm going west because I have no desire to go east. I know no one east. It doesn't feel comfy going east. I'm going west in my van because the borders are shut down. And it wouldn't be. I would go south if I could have. And I was like, that is exactly what this vision was.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was looking at it from what he knew was going on in my life.
Exactly.
And also, I believe a big part of it too is our energies. So, psychics and mediums can only really pick up even our team. Our team doesn't necessarily know the future. They know based off of our energy and based off of our thinking patterns and our belief systems, where we are right now.
Hmm.
This is your path. This is where that progression is going to take you just because they're more infinitely connected. They're more,
Right.
not more connected, they're just more aware of their connection and what it means. And so when you're tapping into them, they're tapping in based on your current states, like
Hmm.
all of them. And so my current state at that time was very focused on my insurance and my battle. Like I had a lawyer in the works and it all was worthless. And so that's what he was picking up on. That's what his team would have been picking up on. Like I had no states that were saying, I'm going to break up with my boyfriend. I don't want to live in a house.
Hmm.
to move me anywhere. So that wasn't in that registry. So,
Yeah. And the other piece of this too, this was actually in that book also. This was a really good book, by the way. If you have not picked it up, you should pick it up. It was very, it was just really cool. A lot of the stories that he shared and a lot of the things, the insights that made me go, yeah, that's so true.
mhm,
It's a really good book. So, but he also talks about how a really good psychic will sometimes say, I don't know. And
mhm,
he said, if you go to somebody that does not do that, you're probably missing out. Like, I think, like, how do I explain what he said perfectly? He basically was like, if I'm watching a psychic and they are just so like certain this is the way, this is what's going to happen, I kind of have like big red flags go up because a psychic cannot always know the future, right?
mhm.
Like they just can't. Like you said, you illustrated it perfectly, where your friend was looking at your energy in that moment, not actually in the future of where you were going, right? So he couldn't have understood that. And one thing that this guy talks about too is that sometimes when a psychic, like, there will be times where, like, when I'm looking at somebody or somebody's told me something, I will just instantly know, like, I will instantly know what they are saying beyond what they're saying, if that makes sense. I had a friend recently tell me about a dream, and I interpreted it for her. And I was just like, I just know. I don't know why I know. I just friggin' do. Right. And she had confirmation later that what I said was completely on point. But there are times when people will tell me things and I just don't know. Like, that's the thing that is so misunderstood, I think, by a psychic, by how psychics work, is that they can't always know because there's so many variations to the story because we are human beings that are living this, like, we're this divine being living this human life, and we also have free will to choose a different
Yeah.
path also. And so
Yeah.
they can't always see that. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons that a psychic can't know what's going to happen. But when they try to superimpose what they think they know, that's when it's like, no. And I feel like, I don't know about you, Ashley. I feel like when somebody tells me something that they're like, oh, I see this for you. I know this is going to happen for you. I can intuitively know that
Mhm.
doesn't feel right. That's not quite it. And you and I have even like had conversations with each other where we're like, well, we think this is what's happening for you. And like either one of us will be like, yeah, that doesn't feel right. That's not
Mhm.
quite it. That's not exactly like what's going on. And we both intuitively know, yeah, that's not really what's playing out here. So, but I think too, it's important as that divine being to really hone in that skill of your intuition. When somebody says something to you, you don't have to accept it for gospel truth, right? You can go, wait, is that actually what's playing out here? Or is that something that someone's trying to superimpose on me? And sometimes I can see that psychics could go down that way, like you explained with the flower, the rose, or whatever it was, creating this massive abundance in your life, right? And it's still kind of in your head, right? So whether it's true or not, like, you get to decide as the divine being, you get to decide if that's true or not. Like,
Mhm.
that's the beautiful thing about life is we can create. And the thing that really has been hammering home for me more and more is that we don't create what we want, we create what we are. And
Mhm.
that's the reason, like, I honestly think that's the reason I love Dr. Joe the most out of all of the people out there that are talking about manifestation and how to change your brain and all of that, is that it's all about breaking that habit of being yourself, right? Like, you're literally going, okay, this is who I am. And is this actually going to bring me both what I want and who I am. Those two have to be in sync with each other, right? Like you basically, it's like your heart and your brain having that conversation together. And instead of that conflicting information of your brain going, I want this, but your heart's going, I actually don't really want that, right? Or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So it's about getting that alignment within yourself and going, okay, how do I create what I want and have it be aligned with who I am? You've got to break those patterns. It's about breaking patterns that aren't serving you. So whatever, like we all have them. Like we got these self-sabotaging patterns that we may or may not know are going on in our life. And it's about really digging those up and then going, oh, that's how come I created that.
Mhm.
Oh, and then the hard, like the time where it's really time to dig in is going, okay, what thoughts do I need to start superimposing when I notice that I'm thinking a certain way? What do I need to start superimposing? So I did this yesterday. I did it so beautifully, and I'm going to just pat myself on the back because I do think I did this so well, right? So yesterday I worked at the surgery center. I do anesthesia, in case nobody knows. I do anesthesia also, okay? So I'm an online marketer and I do anesthesia. So yesterday, I worked at the surgery center, and my dogs had a vet appointment, right? And so we only have one car because we got rid of our second one because we're like, we never friggin' drive this thing. Like I would tell my husband, you need to drive that around the block at least, right? Because it would go like it sat there for a couple years where we would just be like, just drive it around the block. And we were like, we don't need this. Why are we holding on to something we just don't need? So yesterday was one of those rare times where it was like, ooh, I'm going to be at the surgery center and the dogs have an appointment at 3:15 or something, right? And normally when I'm at the surgery center, I only work until like 1. So it's not a very long day. And I'm thinking, oh, I'll be fine. I'll get out on time. Well, in my divine creation, I created that I ended up staying longer. Okay. And it was a beautiful creation because by staying longer, it meant that I made more money, which is great too. So, but it also meant that I was going to have to walk home from the surgery center, which really, like, if I'm being honest, don't feel bad for me. It's only a 10-minute walk. I'm so grateful for the creation of having created a workplace that is literally a 10-minute walk from my house. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever, I'll just walk home. Like that was what we had planned. So my husband drove me to work in the morning and was like, okay, well, if you have to walk home because you stay longer, then you'll walk home. Well, guess what happened yesterday? It rained all day. All day it was raining, except for in the morning when we left. So I didn't know this was going to be a thing, right? When we left, it was beautiful out actually, right? So I get to the surgery center and I'm like, okay, well, I'll probably work until 1 and then find out, oh, I ended up leaving at 3, which is when my husband needed to leave to bring the dogs to the vet, right? So I'm realizing this at the end of my day that I'm like, well, I'm going to be stuck here and it is raining, currently raining. And it was like probably around noon. It was pouring. Okay. I live in Florida. It pours. Okay. And so I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to have to walk home in the rain. And then I noticed the thought, okay, this is the breaking the habit piece, okay? I noticed the thought of, oh shit, I'm going to have to walk home. And then I went, wait a minute, why is that the worst thing in the world? It's not. I can walk home in the rain. I'm not the wicked witch of the West that's going to just completely melt away if rain hits my body. What if I could make this something good? And so I noticed the thought and went, wait, I don't want to think like that. I don't want to become the victim of this situation. I want to actually go, wait a minute, I get to walk home. Like I get to walk home. It's literally 10 minutes from my house. Holy shit, I created that. And I get to walk in the rain. That's a really cool thing. I remember thinking as I'm walking home, I'm like, I'm just washing away all of the stuff that happened at the surgery center. And I'm thinking this as I'm walking home. And I'm just like actually having a good time as I'm walking home because I noticed the thought and went, that's not the thought I want to keep having. I
Hmm.
would rather tune into the thought of, wait, this could be a really good thing. And it ended up being just fine. And I was like, okay, I walked home from work. And I was just thinking all these gratitude thoughts of, really, like, I could work 30-minute drive from home. I wouldn't be able to walk home. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking all the gratitude of, I get to walk home. And
Mhm.
isn't it cool that I get to walk home and it's raining, but who cares? Like, it feels really cool. Like, I don't know about any other adults out there, but most of us don't play in the rain, and I think that's a crying shame. Think about when you were a kid and it poured outside. You just ran outside and jumped in all the puddles. Why don't we do that anymore?
Yeah.
Because we lost that, as we got older, we lost that childlike innocence when it came to the rain. And so I kind of tapped into that yesterday, where it was like, ooh, I could go down, continue this pattern of, oh, woe is me, I have to walk home. Or I can go, oh, wait a minute, I get to walk home. This is
Yeah.
cool. So it's
Yeah.
like that whole concept. And I feel like I'm off what we were like totally down a different rabbit hole, but I do feel like this is so incredibly important when looking at psychics too, because a psychic could have told me, oh, it's going to rain. And then I could have gotten in my head, like maybe the day before they would have told me, oh, it's going to rain. And then I could have gotten in my head and been like, I don't want to walk home. Whereas what ended up happening was I was in the moment, realized what was happening, and went, wait, I can choose a different path.
Mhm.
I can choose. That's where that free will comes in. And a
Yeah.
psychic can't always know what you're going to choose. They just
Yeah.
see, like you said, they see where you are. They
Yeah.
see what's going on right now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, what's right in front of them. And
Hmm.
because that's, yeah. So, and like there was my vision of my van, but that was me having that vision. And I'm connected to everything about me, whereas a psychic often will not be. It will be very rare that they can connect to everything. So,
Right, exactly. And I mean, that's the whole concept of um, somebody that's looking at you is looking through their energy field
yeah.
to your energy field. It's that same concept. So, yeah, it's just, yeah, we put so much as a culture, we put so much authority in other people to tell us what to do. And
Hmm.
I'm here to say we do not need to do that. I do not care who you are. You have the ability because of who you are. Your birthright is that you are a divine being having this human experience. So you can tap into that psychic ability that you are prone to having, whether it's seeing, hearing, feeling, or just knowing. And let's be honest, we can tap into all, even if we have like for me, I know I have this drive towards that psychic knowing, but I have been opening up where I can see things too. And I'm really really big on like the feeling and the seeing, or not the feeling and the knowing, but I've been opening up more the seeing as well. The other day I was standing in front of the mirror and I was like, holy shit, I can see my aura. I was like, oh my God. Like I've been able to see like the haze around either myself or other people, but I've not been able until the other day, not been able to see the colors. And I saw the color of my aura the other day and was like, holy shit, it's like this green blue color that's coming through. And I'm like, oh my God. And my husband's like, what does that mean? I was like, well, green is like that growing. And I'm like, I can't remember what the blue is. And I didn't even look it up. But to me, the green is really the green and growing, which really expresses where I am right now. So that's the reason I wasn't too worried about it, because I was like, well, I just know that's where I am. Right.
Yeah.
So it was just that confirmation of, yeah, that's what your energy field is showing too. So just just throwing that out there. You can be psychic. You don't have to rely on other people. And we're so good at going, I'm not as good as someone else at doing this. Or they're so much better. It's that comparitis situation.
Yeah. I think also with psychics, it's that fear of like not knowing. Like it's like I want to know what the right path is. I
Yeah.
want to know how this is going to work out. And like so many times in my life, and even like right now with like court situation, like I'm pretty confident with our court situation that I did a very good job at arguing what was needed. but there still is a very big unknown. And there's often times where I wish I could just shake a crystal ball and look at it and be like, this is what's going to happen. But that's where that intuitive knowing comes from too. Usually I can tap in, and with court, I do feel this intuitive knowing, and I am pretty rock solid with that. And so, but there's other areas of my life where I'm not as.
She got cut off, friends, but she was talking about how there's other areas of her life where she's not always as tuned in to knowing where she was going. So it seems like Ashley had to go away from us, but that's okay because I think that we've pretty well finished up this topic. And I hope you have a better feeling of the fact that you are psychic. You already have that ability to tune into those psychic abilities, and that you don't need somebody else to tell you what to do. A lot of times in life, we feel like we need to be told what to do. Well, so stop doing that. Let's just say that. I tell myself this all the time too, okay? I'm not completely exempt of this either. I need to be reminded that I don't need somebody to tell me what to do or tell me what the best path is, because I already know intuitively. And for me, the thing that I've learned is regardless of what I choose, I'm still going to be presented with the same lessons to help me get to that next level in my life, as long as I'm paying attention to that. So with that, I think we can call TMI Advice You Didn't Want a wrap for today. So friends, if you are listening on YouTube, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe, and we also would love to hear from you. So give us a comment, let us know your thoughts. And if you're listening on your favorite podcasting host, give us a 5-star and leave us a comment as well, because we'd love to hear from you. So with that, we are going to call TMI Advice You Didn't Want a wrap for today. We'll see everyone next time. Thanks so much for watching. Click on one of the videos below to continue hanging out with us, and don't forget to subscribe.